Good morning and welcome to today's Almost Daily Devotional. We are reading in the Gospel of John, chapter 6, starting with the first verse. After this, Jesus went across the Galilee Sea, that is the Tiberias Sea. A large crowd followed him because they had seen the miraculous signs he had done among the sick. Jesus went up a mountain and sat there with his disciples. It was nearly time for Passover, the Jewish festival. Jesus looked up and saw the large crowd coming toward him. He asked Philip, "Where will we buy food to feed these people?" Jesus said this to test him, for he already knew what he was going to do. Philip replied, "More than a half-year's salary worth of food wouldn't be enough for each person to have even a little bit." One of his disciples, Andrew, Simon Peter's brother, said, "A youth here has 5 barley loaves and 2 fish. But what good is that for a crowd like us?" Jesus said, "Have the people sit down." There was plenty of grass there. They sat down, about 5,000 of them. Then Jesus took the bread. When he had given thanks, he distributed it to those who were sitting there. He did the same with the fish, each getting as much as they wanted. When they had plenty to eat, he said to his disciples, "Gather up the leftover pieces so that none will be wasted." So they gathered them up and filled 12 baskets with the pieces of the 5 barley loaves that had been left over by those who had eaten. When the people saw that he had done a miraculous sign, they said, "This is truly the prophet who is coming into the world." Jesus understood that they were about to come and force him to be their king, so he took refuge again, alone on a mountain. Now, the Gospel of John is an interesting gospel. It's written about 100 years, or not 100 years, I'm sorry. It was written about 50 years after the other Gospels. It's 1st century AD. So we're talking, some time had passed since Jesus's actual earthly ministry had come. And John is writing to a different audience than the other gospel writers. John is writing to an audience of people who think they have a secret knowledge. They're called the Gnostics. They thought that they knew secret things. They had access to a secret bank of information that other people didn't have. And he was writing this gospel as a counteract to that, to say, God doesn't show up that way. God doesn't share God's secrets with individually and then ask you to keep it quiet. Jesus' ministry was always outwardly focused. It was always something that he wanted to share with other people. And so, there wasn't a secret knowledge of God that only a certain group of people got to hold on to. God was present, is present, and amongst all of the people. So I think what's important for us to remember is that we don't have a secret knowledge. The truth is that there's not much in the world that is secret. The truth is that, especially when it comes to God, everybody is invited to hear the message. And it's not something we need to or should keep to ourselves, or something where our unique viewpoint is more important than the complete gospel message. So we have to be careful that we're not hoarding secret knowledge, or that we think that we have access to some secret amount of knowledge. Jesus is always open and sharing with other people. Jesus doesn't hide the truth of God. Jesus isn't trying to trick people or to provide a place of exclusivity at all. He is always doing whatever he can to reach out to as many people as possible and to share the message of God with as many people as possible. So that is our challenge. Is that what we're doing? Or are we trying to hoard a secret knowledge to ourselves?